Do, 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 do. Hey, kia ora. Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from, oops, we haven't got lights on, I haven't closed the curtains. Coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic, sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1563. It's a battle in space tonight. Yes, but more about that in a moment. First, to all of the veterans, past and present, thank you for your service. Thank you for protecting our freedoms in this country. And thank you for your service. And to your families as well, thank you for the service that you provide by having your veterans overseas, away from families at times. It is a hard thing to do. And so we thank you and salute you as well. Also, too, for the Commonwealth countries that are celebrating Remembrance Day, at least we will never forget. So today is November the 11th, and it was on November the 11th hour on the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918 when the armistice with Germany went into effect. This was basically the end of World War I, or otherwise known as the Great War. And that's what today is all about. It wasn't until 1956, and the Commonwealth countries celebrated it as Armistice, around the world celebrated as Armistice Day for a while. Then the Commonwealth countries at some point, they changed it to Remembrance Day. But America in 1956, a lot of different various veteran organizations got together and asked for a Veterans Day, a day they could honor those who had served. Not those currently serving, those who had served. So our veterans, those that had served in the military, fought in wars, and were now out of the military. And this is different to Memorial Day. Memorial Day is for those who died in battle and war. And I've got to make sure I get this right. So Memorial Day is for those that died in war. Armed Forces Day are for those currently serving. And Veterans Day are for those who have served, are now out, and they're either still alive or they're not. But the ones on Veterans Day who are not alive were ones that were not killed in battle. So those are the differences. It's amazing what you learn when you go reading and finding out history on things. So to all of our veterans, thank you. To those for Remembrance Day, we will never forget. Never forget the sacrifices that have been made. And Remembrance Day is for those who, in the Commonwealth countries, who died in war. It used to be just the World War I, but it has been expanded to include all wars since. Now, back to night number 11 of the James Bond Movie Fest for 2023. We have Moonraker tonight. And there are some very interesting things about Moonraker tonight. If you've ever seen Moonraker, you will know what some of them are, but you may not know the stories behind some of them. So, if you watch Moonraker, please watch it to the very end, because I tell you, they give Q some of the best one-liners ever. And as far as I recall, and I do this every November because I can never remember which ones has it, I always remember this one. The one that he does at the end of Moonraker is, I just lose it every time. It is just the perfect one line that he just happens to pop out with. But it is a very good one-liner that he has at the end of Moonraker. What is it? I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to watch and find out. Sorry. There are some secrets we will keep until you watch the movie. Richard Kiel, who is 7'2", and we met him in last night's movie, The Spy Who Loved Me, as a bad guy. He's back tonight. He's back tonight in that character of Jaws with the metal mouth. And this was due to fan requests from kids. They wanted to know why they made him a bad man in The Spy Who Loved Me. They would rather see him as a good guy. So what they did is that they wrote him into the movie as a bad guy at the beginning, and then you slowly see him transform throughout the movie till he becomes Bond's ally towards the end of the movie. So you watch that transformation go through. And he has a love interest, which is really sweet, and she's so cute. She's so cute. But this basically starts... This movie starts when a space... Now, hang on. This movie came out in 1979, which is very important. So the reason that this movie came out in the number 11 slot for the James Bond movie, it was actually supposed to be for Your Eyes Only, which is tomorrow night's movie. And if you watch the end of most James Bond movies up until, I can't remember which one they stop it at, but at the end they put James Bond will be back in and name the next movie coming up. So in The Spy Who Loved Me, which came out in 1977, it says James Bond will be back in For Your Eyes Only. But there is a but. Due to the box office success of Star Wars from 1977, they decided to put Moonraker in instead of For Your Eyes Only, and they bumped For Your Eyes Only to 1981 and had Moonraker come out in 1979. So it was, we're still going to get to see For Your Eyes Only. That's tomorrow night. But that's how Moonraker ended up in this particular spot because of the box office hits for Star Wars in 1977. So now what is really interesting about this movie is that in this movie came out in 1979. Like I said, very important to remember. The movie starts with a space shuttle being, have I frozen? Oh, there we go. With a space shuttle being stolen off the top of the plane that is transporting it to wherever it is it's going. They steal a space shuttle off the transport plane. Here's the problem with that. The set directors, the producers, and everybody else, and especially those doing the miniaturizations and things, had no point on the space shuttles because the space shuttle program had its first launch in 1981. It was April 12th, 1981 was when the first, so the movie came out with a space shuttle being stolen 2 years prior to the first launch of a space shuttle on April 12th, 1981. Which is kind of cool. So the people who were doing all the special effects had no reference point as to how the space shuttle would take off, how it would land. They had no reference points whatsoever. So they basically had to make it up. So I thought that was kind of interesting because when I'm reading the space shuttle, I saw 1979. I thought, there's something wrong with this. I've never made the connection before until this year. And I'm like looking at that thing and I'm going, yeah, they steal the space shuttle. And I'm like, I didn't think the space shuttle came out until the 80s. So I went and had a look, and it was April 12th, 1981. So there you go. Another cool fact about this one is that this is fun. I crack up every time I see it because it's the most stupidest looking thing, but it just cracks me up. During one of the chase scenes in Venice, James Bond is in a gondola, and he goes up into St. Mark's Square in Venice in a hovercraft gondola, and he's busy driving around the square. And you've got this, the gondolas are long, and he's just sitting there with his little joystick next to him, steering his way through the crowds that are in St. Mark's Square in Venice. It just cracks me up. I'm like, what are they going to think of next? This is also the third time that you will hear Shirley Bassey perform a James Bond theme song. She sung Goldfinger and Diamonds Are Forever, and tonight she sings the Moonraker theme song. So she's the only artist who has had 3 James Bond songs to sing. So that's pretty impressive. And I think that's all I have for you guys tonight. Yeah, so basically this guy steals the space shuttle. They then have to go looking for it. They go down, there's, that's right, they go to Rio de Janeiro. There's some festival thing going on. They go to Venice. Where else do they go? Venice, Rio. Somewhere in the South American jungles. What was the other place they went to? Can't remember the other places. They move around a little bit. Oh, Venice. I said Venice. Yes. So it's a very interesting one. A lot of people, for whatever reason, don't like Moonraker, but I will tell you that it has a really they have a battle in space, good versus bad, and it's all spacewalked battles, if that makes sense. They have a lot of space shuttles that go up there to deploy the troops to battle those that are in the space station and all of this sort of stuff. And it's kind of interesting to see a battle in space while they're all out spacewalking. I think they all have jetpacks on, if I remember correctly. We've got jetpacks on. So it's a very interesting battle at the end. And that too was long before they ever did any spacewalks. And this is the second time you'll see people spacewalking in space in a James Bond movie. The first time we saw people walking in space in a James Bond movie doing a spacewalk was You Only Live Twice. Yes, You Only Live Twice, which came out in 1967. So they had people spacewalking outside the rocket that was orbiting at that time. And if you see it, the rocket's coming along and, yeah, it's facing this way. And then this other rocket comes up behind it. This guy's floating out there, and the jaws open on the rocket coming up behind, closes, severs the life support for the poor astronaut who is in space, and he just floats off. No connection to anything. He just floats off into space. So yeah, that was, so tonight you will see some spacewalking, well, actually space fighting as they do a space battle, and not with aircraft either. So, but it's a really, I enjoy this movie. I do. There's lots of little quirky things in there. But if you want to hear the line that Q closes out the movie with, you'll have to watch the movie. But because you have to watch the movie to get to the point where you understand what's happening, and then he drops this one line. So anyway, that's all you're going to get out of me on that one. So tonight we're going to go watch Moonraker. Actually, I have to finish watching The Spy Who Loved Me because I don't know what was going on with me last night. I was falling asleep like you wouldn't believe during the movie, and I never fall asleep during a movie. So at 10 o'clock, I think I had 20 minutes. I've still got 20 minutes left. I've been busy today, so I haven't had a chance to go back and watch the last 20 minutes. But so tonight we'll be watching the last 20 minutes. I'm going to go watch the last 20 minutes now. Then I'm going to start on Moonraker. But for some reason yesterday, I was just super, super tired. I could barely keep my eyes open. Tonight we should be a little more because we got a good night's sleep last night. So anyway, that's it from us. Go out, have a super fantastic, sparkling evening. And we will see you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Hey, Konera.